Welcome into this edition of Road Trippin with RJ and Channing. I'm your host, Allie Clifton, and we are alongside the Long Shot podcast with Duncan Robinson and Davis Reed.
Big donkeys.
Come on.
Oh my God. It's basically a
Big
collaboration.
donkeys. I like that
Because
one.
heard that.
we are here in the Blue Wire Studios in the Wynn, Las Vegas during Summer League, so we're just here to have a little powwow. Talk basketball. Just kidding. We don't like talking about basketball.
Yeah, we do sometimes. But if we
we
do, it'll go
will.
down a rabbit hole
Oh
of
my
rants.
God.
But for our Road Trippin listeners, and then if you want to flip it for the Long Shot podcast listeners, the relationship in terms of how you guys know one another. You just said go blue, which I was not a fan of because I'm a Buckeye through and through.
I mean, he actually
She's
has
from
no
Toledo.
he has no affiliation, true
None.
affiliation to
Just
the
trying to stir the
University of
pot.
Michigan. Davis and I go back a little bit. We're not from the same area. I'm from New Hampshire.
Okay.
He's
What
from
part of New Hampshire?
Portsmouth.
Okay, I grew up in Goffstown.
You're lying.
I'm not lying.
New Hampshire?
There's only one other NBA player from New Hampshire. It's Matt Bonner.
Matt
So
Bonner.
I was born in New York, and then from when I was 1 till I was 7, I lived in Goffstown, New Hampshire.
Are you serious?
Dead serious. I can't make that.
I didn't even
I
know
can't.
that.
I was gonna say Goffstown is a
Google that?
crazy name
Crazy
drop.
name.
If you're
Isn't
just
that where
pulling,
the first Red Lobster was?
yes.
Yes.
Hang on, Channing.
wait.
Dude, how do I know
Actually, I
that?
don't know the Red Lobster. Are you sure the first Red
I
Lobster
don't know.
wasn't
I
in
think
Portland, Maine?
I remember going to the
Shout
first.
out Cheddar Biscuits.
Facts. Yes.
But
Yeah.
no, the first Red Lobster, there was a line, because I remember my parents, we drove a long way to go to this place, and it was like lobster. I remember my dad had like a suit on. It was like a thing.
Unbelievable.
Channing, we have spent
Wait.
how many hours?
My mic sounds funny. Okay, there we go. I've known Channing since, I was 16, 17. I did not know that, bro.
You didn't know
I didn't know
that?
That's
you lived in New- I
amazing.
did not know you. I knew where you were born in New York. I
Right.
knew you spent some time out there. And you moved to Phoenix. You glossed over a 7-year stretch of fucking New Hampshire. We could have been
That's amazing.
We could have made
Because
fun of you.
there is nobody
No.
from New Hampshire
No.
that plays like high level basketball. That's why I feel like I would have known that.
Well,
So I'm still questioning-
I
Is there
moved to Phoenix.
is there a Goffstown, New York? Is that possible?
No. Trust me, I lived in Goffstown, fucking New Hampshire, and my dad had a Gordon setter named Anwar after Anwar Sadat, and then the guy from Egypt. I think he was like the governor or the mayor.
Mayor.
Mayor of Egypt, and he used to take peanut butter and water and hit golf balls. We had like 30 acres. He would hit golf balls into
Yeah.
the forest and let the dog, like he would go have the dog find it. And it was just, that was what we did. Or go fishing for
In the middle of
catfish.
nowhere with nothing.
In
I
the
mean,
middle of
those
nowhere.
those are New Hampshire activities right there.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Can we get like a
Super
fact check? Do you got?
Yeah.
Well,
Is there something
I
like?
did actually just type in Channing Frye, Goffstown. Do you even know how to spell Goffstown?
Is it G-O-F-S-T-O-W-N?
I've never heard of the city.
Yes, well done. New Hampshire, and nothing comes up.
Where
I
do you
mean,
think Logan is born?
No way. He was born in New Hampshire?
He says New England, but he was actually, Logan is named after Logan Airport in Boston.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay,
Man.
so
Because my parents
He tells people
worked in
Wolverine, but that's cool.
I'm loving this. New England is strongly represented in
He was
this
a
this
Patriots
collaboration.
fan for so long, only when they were winning. So I was like, man, fuck the Patriots.
so New Hampshire,
Wow.
and then
He's from Kansas.
Oh God! And my cousin lived.
Don't do that.
No, I'm dead serious.
Okay, tell me.
Where?
Shit. Oh.
Don't tell me it's Lenexa.
Oh, that sounds weird. No. Shit. What is the name of the town? Marcus is gonna kill me. I gotta text him. But no, dead
Get back to me. Yeah, get back to
Dead
me.
serious. He's like born and raised in Kansas, big Kansas, like everything. They flipped out when the Royals won.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. I
that's
mean,
how Kansas he is.
He's a fake Royals fan too.
Oh,
Just
you
bandwagon.
know. Congratulations.
well, they're bad my whole life. They win, and then you jump on the, you start wearing the Royal stuff around.
Yeah, you got to listen. You got to earn the support. You got to earn the support a little bit.
100%.
I'm not a Cardinals fan. I moved to Arizona when I was 7. Hated the Cardinals because for a decade they were trash, and so I'm not supporting this team. That being said, I didn't jump on the bandwagon when they started being good, but that's just the guy I am.
so how did the two of you meet then?
So I wasn't very good at basketball in middle school and high school. Davis was very
Oh,
good
same here.
Really good.
at basketball in middle school and high school. But neither of us were recruited very much. So very common in New England. I did a 5th year of high school at a prep school. And Davis happened to be at the same place. We had met like a couple years earlier at like one of those like
Camps.
recruiting events. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we met at prep school, 1 year prep school together, and went off to different schools in the same conference, actually, Division III schools, Wesleyan for him, Williams for myself. And
Wesleyan's a pretty good school.
I'm pretty smart.
it's not as good as Williams, but it's a good school.
It's a pretty good school. Just saying, it's a pretty good school. It's not bad. What, bro?
Wait, you went to Division III and then to Michigan?
Yeah.
Dude,
You didn't know that?
Fuck no.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
it's the most overplayed storyline.
I mean, yeah,
in the NBA.
it's gotten way too much coverage at this point. But if you want to rehash it, we can.
Let's do it.
I mean,
Yeah,
You,
let's
you
do it.
give a lot of people hope, though.
I mean, I like to think of it that I'm carrying the torch for Division III basketball.
Absolutely.
That's what I like to think of it. I mean,
What is Division III basketball?
Give me the top
like?
3 players from Division III.
Oh,
all time?
Yeah.
Devin George.
Devin George, yeah. Shout out my guy.
I'm gonna throw myself out of it. I think his name's Andy or Adam Panko. Played overseas for a while.
I've heard
Potapenko?
Not Potapenko, not Vitali.
Dave, anyone else I'm missing? Like obvious ones?
you're probably in there.
I mean, I would probably say I'm in the mix.
There we go.
Yeah.
What is a day in the life of Division III?
Man.
It's probably
Compared to-
more,
I mean,
feel like
because
more
you
school.
went to a very good school after that.
Yeah.
So when you were at Division III, did you like have to make your own lunch? Like what was that like? But that's what I assume is like you like bus everywhere.
What was the
You
post-game
get
meals?
sack lunch.
Oh,
You
we
do
didn't
bust
get
everywhere.
we didn't get post game meals. I will say the resources basketball wise were very limited.
All out them shorts.
Yeah, Channing, there's
Sorry,
a reason
you
why
also-
you're sitting there. So
I
that
know,
your
I just saw
back
the
can
dog,
be-
and I
no,
didn't
you
know
didn't see
she
the
had
dog.
She had a little Rumposaurus Rex out.
Rumposaurus Rex. Did you say Rumposaurus Rex?
Yeah.
Did
it's
you
a
hear
nice
him
way to it.
say they didn't get post-game meals?
Damn, y'all were hungry as shit.
I mean, we
We would
bust-
we would get like pizza.
You
on
get
the bus.
you get pregame meal. You get pregame meals at the dining hall.
If we won, we would go to Chipotle.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And
actually not
then
bad.
you're busting everywhere, but it's all in a relatively close radius. You got the occasional like longer road trip. But yeah, I mean it's very, very different than the University of Arizona. I'm sure you guys were getting.
You went to the University of Michigan.
I mean that's very true.
But that's still probably not at the same level.
Still
It's
probably
totally
not the same level.
Totally
it's
not.
I got to imagine the U of A is just an entirely different.
It's
In
a-
our era,
it's-
you guys had private jets. We had to take Southwest. We were.
Isn't that a Pac-12 thing though?
What?
Isn't Southwest? Isn't that a Pac-12
Yeah,
thing?
yeah. It's a West Coast
So
thing. Like,
imagine
I fly
beating
Southwest
Washington.
still to this day.
But
No, I
didn't,
know,
but
but
didn't the Pac-12 have or Pac-10 when you guys were?
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
they have like a deal with Southwest where you had to fly Southwest? Or am I making that
you
up?
couldn't take private jets. I think at the time.
yeah,
No team had private jets.
there's some probably be, but the difference for us is that at our school, like Michigan is a football school.
Very true.
Excuse me, Michigan's a football school, but basketball program is one of the best in the country. At our school, it's a basketball school
Very true.
and then a basketball school,
A
right?
softball,
Softball.
swimming.
No, I just
Swimming.
Swimming. Like we have some, we got some great golfers. We got some stuff. But I'm saying, if you're talking about basketball, football is they're working. They're gonna try and get something done. But like that was the difference between being in Tucson and
Yes.
Burnt Ann Arbor. It's just that like it's basketball.
100%. And I experienced that in that we were significantly better than the football program.
Yeah.
During my time, but it was always football program got the most love, got the most money, got the most support. That's just how it was. And then finally at the end, like my senior year, we went to the Final Four, and it was like kind of starting to change.
Yeah.
But then Harbaugh like kind of started to figure it out, and then
Yeah.
they were like back relevant again.
Yeah.
So
Michigan football, you can't. Oh, I'm sorry, Ohio State over there. But
I mean-
basketball, there's not many schools that are both. It's almost impossible to be a basketball and football school.
2008, University of Kansas.
I think University of Kansas football is like
and on that note,
Wait, 2008. What did the
What?
Kansas? Did you guys won a bowl or something?
Yeah.
What happened?
National championship in basketball and
Yeah.
Orange Bowl in football.
Wow.
Fun
yeah,
fact.
but
Really?
one year
is not. Yeah, it's
yeah.
like I would say Florida when Billy Donovan.
Florida,
and
that's a good one.
Florida for sure.
Tebow with Al,
yeah, and they had those good teams, and then you would go. But even then, you would still consider that a football school. That basketball program is elite, right?
Yes, 100%.
Like Michigan is a
Dude, you got a
UCLA,
question.
USC.
No.
Okay,
no,
fair enough.
USC's had some really good players that people forget about, like DeRozan.
Yes,
because
You have
their
Vooch.
teams haven't been great.
You have
Even
Dwayne
Evan
Dedmon.
Mobley.
Yeah.
You have
Taj Gibson.
Taj Gibson. Like
Yeah.
they
OJ
have
Mayo.
players.
Nick Young, OJ Mayo. You don't like the OJ Mayo one?
Edit. I thought that he was really good in high school.
He was good. He was a good player.
We used to barbecue that ass.
Well, he wasn't playing no
Oh,
defense.
my.
He wasn't playing no
Barbecue.
defense.
No, not a lick of defense.
Wait,
just remember that.
If you weren't good in high school, how did you end up at Arizona? Because I at least I had to take.
No,
you
don't shut
got
up,
him there?
Richard.
Just like, hey, he can come.
Funny story.
Is it?
I went to junior high in Chandler, Arizona, was 7, 8, 9. So I didn't play varsity night freshman year. I went to St. Mary's High School because my parents said I had to go to private school. So I went to St. Mary's High School. I played one game of varsity my sophomore year, broke my wrist, this side, yep, that. Broke my hand, didn't play sophomore year, worked my ass off junior, senior year. Junior year, I was doing all this AAU stuff. U of A goes, Channing, we think we like you. So I took an unofficial visit. I knew Richard, and they were like, well, we might have to redshirt you, but here's a list of other guys we like ahead of you unless you commit now. It was like Tyson Chandler, like
No, his
NBA
class,
dudes.
No, his class for big men, and that was one
It was
of the
disgusting.
That was part of the
it was
reason
the
why
last year of
Yeah.
the so like
Eddie
Eddie Curry,
Curry,
Tyson Chandler,
Kwame Brown, all these,
Usman Cisse.
these were
which
all
is
guys
a
coming
wild
out of
name,
his class.
But he hurt himself on his workouts. He tore his ACL.
Sagana Yap was in part of that high school. All these guys.
Disgusting.
So Channing was really low on the center totem pole coming out of high school.
135 was technically my rank.
Yeah.
Really?
We had 5 players. It was Will Bynum, who was on Chicago Preps.
Yeah.
Right? And then it was like Dennis Lattimore, McDonald's All-American, 6'8", 240, tatted up, big old boy.
You were like the 5th best player in your recruiting class.
Yeah, basically. This is not. I'm not lying. So they offered me. They were like, "Well, if you sign now, then we'll work with you." And I was like, "Okay, where do I sign?" So I signed, and then they dogged me out for 2 years, and I ended up getting good because they ended up teaching me how to
He
play
won a state
basketball.
so he won a state championship his senior year. Me, Gilbert, Luke Walton, we all drove down there to watch him play in a
damn.
state championship.
Love that.
And it was more of like Channing was like, Arizona has very few guys that could play at Arizona, right? Like I was
You're saying in state?
in state.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think there's
I
only
was
5.
5. But at my time, I was the 3rd because it went Sean Elliott. Then there was a long gap. Then it went Mike Bibby. And it was like Arizona had a huge program, but it was like the state just wasn't developing basketball players. So then it went me. And then after that, it was him and then Jared Bayless. And then they started
Lavender.
having more prep schools in Arizona. But that's why Ayton has connections there. But it was just you have to support each other. You know this, right?
Yeah,
Like you have
for
to
sure.
support each other on the journey. Like I didn't even know about like you could go do this until Mike Bibby. And I was a sophomore when he was a senior, and they were like, Mike Bibby. I'm like, who the fuck is Mike Bibby? And I walk into a gym, I'm like, oh, he's really good at basketball.
It
They're
was
like,
wild
yeah.
watching him play basketball in high school.
slow.
It looked like he was moving like this, and everyone was like getting out of his way. He was like, shoot.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, no dunks? And you have 50?
Yeah, so Mike took me under his wing. Like he went to Arizona, and I would go up there and recruit. And I didn't know if I was going to be good enough to play. I was only still 15 or something. So I would go up there, kind of hang out with them, and I kept working on my game. So what Mike meant to me, like we always tried to pay it forward. So like Mike would come and support me. I watched Mike Bibby play in a state championship game. So we went down there, but Channing was trash. I was
a true center.
He was a true center in like
True
2004.
center.
Couldn't
So
shoot.
you weren't shooting at
No.
all?
No, he didn't even shoot when his first couple of years in the league.
No. And then I used to get dogged out. Then they had me guarding motherfucking Yao Ming and Shaq. And I said, enough is enough. And this ain't me. Like, when I was a rookie, I was 6'10", 6'11", 230. And they were like, that's when centers existed.
Like big body.
Big body.
Boom.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It was the worst. They were like, Channing, go get Shaq. Go get like Jahidi White.
Ooh,
who was just go
Look
get
like a
Boosie.
bowling
That's
ball.
a great name drop right
Dude,
there.
yeah,
great
Jahidi
idea,
White.
because
That's
I
good
was like,
stuff.
damn, go guard Zebo straight up. Go guard like young Marc Gasol. And I was like, you know what?
Hang
Enough
on.
is
What
enough.
is it like guarding Yao Ming? Like,
It's
what was
impossible.
what did you
It was
do?
impossible.
You know how Boban makes you feel like makes everyone look like a little kid? Right? Remember when Boban was doing this to Anthony Davis? And he couldn't touch it? That's what it was like for everyone with Yao Ming.
But imagine Yao Ming shot the technical fouls for Houston.
Nah, crazy touch.
Crazy.
Crazy
So even
touch.
if you thought you did good, he was just like, turnaround jumper, like you shoot on little kids. He's like,
He's 6 inches taller than Shaq.
That's wild.
6 inches
Wild.
taller
And
than Shaq.
big.
his
And
legs
big.
were this
Tree
big.
trunks.
Yeah.
And so like I was like, and then he was just
Would
like,
you call for help?
you can't double team him because he was just
He had
who you throwing
dimes to
Ron
Pause.
Artest, who's averaging 30 that year. Like people forget Ron Artest was averaging 25 for a whole season.
If Yao was fully healthy and came around right now in today's
Oh.
NBA,
Eh,
but like
MVP.
It'd be like Shaq.
What?
More
Really?
than Shaq. More than
Yeah,
Shaq.
because he could pick and rolls. He was going to get abused.
Okay.
But this was the problem. You were going to and this is where the game is different. I know Draymond talk a lot of shit. Draymond's not guarding him. Like that small ball,
Right,
that
right,
small
right,
ball
right.
five.
That ain't going.
PJ Tucker. You can't do that with a guy that size because he will just duck in. You put it up.
He's shooting
You're going to
layups.
have to collapse, and then you throw it out. So yes, somebody might have to. Somebody, it's tough him in the pick and roll. But like him, Shaq, you couldn't go Draymond on Shaq. Shaq used to force you to have 2 to 3 bigs on your roster. So immediately you lost depth on the perimeter because you had to have 2 or 3 bigs because you were going to have to foul him 18 times.
yeah,
Like
he's just fouling people out.
I caught 05 Shaq. I didn't catch.
I caught 01 Shaq, bro.
I caught 05 Shaq, and like you look at video and you're like, damn, he's so big. As a human being, he's not supposed to move like that. I was playing in New York, right? We're up. I know he probably went out the night before, so I'm like, I'm not gonna say shit, right? I'm gonna just let this game go by. Third quarter comes and he's doing okay. They're down 6. He looks at me, he's like, okay, good game, Lil Fry. We got to win this now. And just
Little fry.
and it basically fucks me up for the whole quarter. Like, there's no fouling. There's no imagine trying to foul a tree moving like a cat and just dunk after hook shot after dunk. It's just impossible to move a human that big and that he's mean.
You know
That's
those
another
flybys?
problem.
You know those flybys you try and do?
Yeah.
And this is, first of all, if they called a foul every time you actually fouled Shaq, there were times he would dunk it, smack his arm, and the referee wouldn't even call it. That's facts. But you would do a flyby, just trying to hey, I'm coming to help. And he would be like, watch it, little fella. If you put your hand there, I'll break your wrist. And you're like,
Oh, he's
Stop
telling
it.
and
you.
you're like, no,
What?
he was
Yes.
Middle of the game?
If his,
Oh,
body,
middle of
if
the
his
game.
body and you try to block a ball and there's a rim right there, a
No.
metal bar, he'll
He
break
said,
your
I'll
wrist.
try and break your
No,
wrist.
he
Yes.
goes, I will
Me.
break your
I
wrist.
will.
He goes, better
Mean.
watch your hand. I'll break your
Imagine
wrist.
Somebody the size of Gobert with
150
a Giannis
pounds.
attitude.
Yeah.
Like me and you, I'm gonna win this every single time. There's no
Roger Mason.
There's not-
What's that big guy?
And you were 230 trying to guard him?
because everyone else fouled out. We had Eddie Curry fouled out, Jerome James fouled out. We had me, we had David Lee, and everyone was like, "Who wants this?" I was like, "Damn."
Most dominant big man?
Not even most
Yeah.
dominant
Ever?
player.
Ever?
Physically, yes. Like Kareem,
was
let's not disrespect. You couldn't do shit with Kareem either, or Wilt and all these guys. But physically dominant, yeah. Who's somebody that Channing asked a bunch of players is who's somebody that when you got to the league, you were like, what the fuck, bro? Is this dude a real player? I know he's good.
You thought he was
You're
good?
like,
Yeah,
how
yeah,
good
yeah.
is he?
I mean,
Jalen Suggs said Kyrie. He was like, Kyrie's ridiculous. This video, but when you try and keep that fucker in front of you, you're like, he's not a real player.
so I'm going to give you 2 answers, and 2 of them are for different reasons. The first one is Giannis because it's his mentality and his size and his length. It's
And he's always pissed.
I don't know. There are certain possessions where I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. I really, truly.
I love that.
I really, truly. I mean, certainly, I don't know what to do. But
We
I
had to have a huddle when we were in Cleveland about, hey, guys, this is us. It was Shump, Braun, JR, me, Richard, Tristan, Kevin, all had to have a huddle hey, we all need to gather together.
And that was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was baby Giannis.
and every
Yeah.
year he's
Baby
coming
Giannis.
back just a little bit
Yoked
more
up.
buffed up.
And matter.
He don't enjoy summer. All he does is eat weights.
And there was something about being in the bubble in that small, tight ass gym.
Made him bigger.
Just made him bigger. I swear to you. So that, and then the other one is, it's Kyrie because you can just tell he just fucks around with the game because he wants to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't
I feel
interest
like he does
him.
that with a lot of things.
It doesn't interest him to just come off a ball screen and shoot a 3 because he's open. He wants to sit in the pocket and cut back and step do something not
Yeah.
because the
Take-
defense
Like
is
he's
making
bored.
him do it.
He's bored.
No, he's showing.
He wants to do workouts.
He's showing.
during the game.
Yes.
Kyrie comes in. It's let me show you this package that
Yes.
I'm about to go.
Yes.
This is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to split the screen. I'm like, Kyrie, but you're open in there. Yeah, but that's fine. I'm going to split the screen. Then I'm going to take the body. Then I'm going to go left-hand floater. Or then the next time, I'm going to show the left hand, then come fillet, finish high off the glass.
Yes.
Okay, Kai, go knock yourself out, bro.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Kevin Durant has a little of that too, right?
Yes.
Just like messing around with the game.
Yeah. Well, because it's just like there's no human being that's ever been created with his skill set. And I think Chet, not trying to compare them, but I'm saying as like a tall shooter skill, like you're not really contesting his.
Do that.
I'm
no
not.
offense.
No,
No offense.
They were doing it the
we ain't
other day.
doing
They
that.
were doing it the other day on the show.
But this is the problem
we
with
ain't
that.
doing that.
We forget who Kevin Durant was when he first came in. If you compare, but I'm saying you compare Kevin Durant's rookie year after his freshman year to Chet right now, you'd be like, I can see the thin comparison, the 7-foot skill set. I'm not comparing the two.
Okay.
It's like even people were like, oh, if you compare someone to Giannis, it's like, do you remember what Giannis looked like when he first
That's
came
true.
in?
That's fair.
Like you're not comparing him to the MVP Giannis now. You're comparing him to when he came in. And I'm sorry, Kevin Durant, he still is probably the most unguardable human being that's probably been created.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah. He's a 7'2" guard
Yeah.
Duncan,
with a 50-40-90 clip.
how is your off season? What's going on in your world?
It's going well. I'm mostly just focused on improving, playing a lot. I actually had a surgery, very minor. It was an optional surgery.
It was a nose job.
Yeah,
His nose
no,
job?
I had an old fracture in my nose.
You're already pretty enough.
No,
bro.
there's
Stop
nothing.
trying to get
There's
prettier,
nothing. There's
man.
nothing external. I'd like to make that very clear. But I had an old fracture in my nose, and I couldn't breathe out of one of my nostrils. Basically, my whole life, like since I was in like 7th grade. So an old teammate of mine, Rodney Magruder.
Yeah.
I hope that's not a
McGruber.
I hope that's not a HIPAA violation that I'm saying that he also had the surgery. But I reached out to him and asked him like, what was the experience? And he said it was like life changing for him, sleep, conditioning, everything. So I went and I got a consultation. It turns out my right nostril was 90% blocked.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're breathing. So when they breathe out of
So
your
I was
nose,
getting like
I
half
can't-
the I was getting like half the air that I
They
could
were like,
have.
stop being a mouth breather. You're
Yes.
Like, well,
So what happened when you got it fixed? Like,
It was brutal for like 10 days, but we're on the other side of that now, thankfully. So
and you can breathe?
yeah, I can breathe. It's amazing. I feel
Your
like
side
I feel like a new man.
Your side profile is far better.
Yeah, well, I'll just reiterate. Nothing externally changed.
No.
They-
This
they
is what
missed that
people
part.
say so that insurance will cover the nose job.
It's not cosmetic.
That's fine.
does Miami
deviated
even have an
septum.
off season? So we we've not played in Miami. I had an opportunity and I decided I
ain't
like
for
my
me.
body fat being around 20. So like, what is that like? Because dude, as media people on this side, retired, we talk Miami's culture. Miami's culture is this, and UD is great, right? I remember Chubby UD at Florida.
Oh, yeah.
And then now he's shredded beef and he's 47 years
100%,
old.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Wild. We've all seen it. What, you don't have to give us all the secrets, but what is that really like?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I don't want to say it exists more in like theory. Like the culture aspect is real and it's something we talk about a lot. I think it's more just comes down to like a certain level of accountability, which I know you guys can probably imagine in different stops. Like it can be hard to maintain in an NBA locker room, like accountability, like 1 through 16 or whatever it is. So it's a certain level of accountability, and then it's also really just like maximizing every single day. You know what I mean? Like development wise, like they're never gonna at any point in the season, whatever. Like they're never just gonna let you have a day where you're not just showing up and just like checking a box. Like they're gonna make sure you're in the weight room watching film if you've been on the court a bunch, whatever, or getting better in your game. So I don't think it's like. I do feel like in theory, like what's talked around the league, like it's talked about like it's some like crazy madness.
military style.
Yeah, like militant.
It sounds very similar to San Antonio. It sounds very similar to San Antonio.
I really just think it's about just like they really just prioritize like being a professional. You know what I mean? Like showing up, handling your business. The body fat thing is real. That is real.
Every single day?
No,
It's every Monday.
Yeah, it's about once a week.
Yeah.
about
No,
once
that's what it's, no, in San Antonio, they put it up on the board. So there's a big thing.
Oh, yeah, we do.
There's
Yeah,
there's
we
a
do
big
that.
thing. There's a big thing out there.
That
And
hurts.
it has everyone's name and it says like last week, weight, body fat.
Yeah.
And then like they'll be like, hey, when trainers might give you a little tip, like, hey man, we're gonna check body fat when we
Yeah,
get back off the trip, right? So you gotta make sure because road trips, you're sitting there at buffets, you're not working out. So all of a sudden
100%.
you can gain 5 pounds easily on a road trip because you've been gone 6
What is
days.
it? You have a range that you have to stay within?
Well, the road trip, that's the thing that kind of bothers me is that we'll like play in Chicago. We get on the plane and we're heading back to Miami and we got like deep dish pizza on there. And it's like we wake up the next morning, it's like you got weight and body fat. So people are like looking at the pizza and then like looking at, are people like, do we have it tomorrow? Like what's going on? So it's like, it is a little game in that. But I mean, mostly like what you eat. I mean, you can put on, it depends what type of body type you have. I don't have a type of body type where I can just put on weight. I have the opposite. I get what I call skinny fat. I like lose weight, but my body fat goes up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. My question for you two is this. Give me 2 things that on your guys' podcast that you guys disagree on. Like if it's a player, if it's a thing, like what is something that like, and I know sometimes as players, we like to be like, look, I'm the player I know, but like, what is something that you're like really passionate about?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question.
You know, I've been doing this for a couple of years.
You guys just started the podcast, right?
No, we're
Last
like,
year.
yeah,
Last year.
we're like
That's just starting.
18. Are we
Damn,
18 months in? 18 months
Yeah,
in?
you're
Roughly.
not-
Last January.
That's not even a baby anymore. That's like a toddler.
Yeah,
Yeah,
18 months. We got some episodes under our belt.
There we go.
We're like going through
18
puberty
months.
as a
Yeah,
podcast.
still-
I
You still
like it.
change diapers at 18
That's very
months.
true. That's very true.
Fair.
You got something?
I don't know. No. What
I mean, we're
very similar. I actually think it's to
Yeah.
the detriment of the podcast.
Oh, okay.
You know
two
what I mean?
very like indecisive people too.
Yeah.
That's my biggest flaw as a human being.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly indecisive.
And I'm about to go referee, and I'm an extremely indecisive person also. Yeah.
Wait, where are you
Recipe for
refereeing?
disaster.
Summer League.
Here's a question.
Are you really?
Yes. Oh, yes.
I've been
No.
going to
Dead
referee
serious.
classes every morning.
Like an actual
A
Yes.
game.
summer league game?
Yeah. Yeah. Look at that.
Wow.
See, your face is the same way mine was when they asked me. And they were
Oh,
like-
they asked you to
They
do
asked
it.
me. They were like,
Okay.
hey, Rich, like, you know, I did some like
For some content.
I did some like stuff at the draft combine. They're like, hey, would you want to come? Because they do like a referee training camp right now for all like younger referees. So they bring them in
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of film. We're watching film. They're going over all the stuff. And so they're like, hey, if you want to come. So every morning for the last like 5 days, I've been in there for like 90 minutes, like
Damn.
going over the film, doing all this stuff, just to referee a quarter or referee 1 quarter.
Holy shit.
And it's going to be trash. I'm going to be tragic.
After watching the film, do you have a different perspective than you did as a player? Because I feel like as players, we all feel like we would be able to referee better.
1,000%, we could not.
We could not.
We could not.
Okay.
Well, there's
so you have a newfound appreciation.
100. Well, because
Okay.
like when you say indecisive, like I'm kind of that way. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's kind of. But even when I'm calling a game, I was like, oh, that's kind of blah, kind of.
Yeah.
When you're there,
You
you have
gotta
to make a
be-
decision.
yeah.
You have to make a decision. You have to do it, and then there's like so much of like where you stand, what your zone is to call. And it's like all this shit that you're like, yeah, I wouldn't want to do this because it's a thankless job.
One of my college teammates' friends, Claire Aubrey. she
Shout out, Claire.
Shout out, Claire. She is reffing. She's did a lot of ACC, SEC last year. She does the WNBA, G League, and like her goal is the NBA. And she's here, but she did a WNBA game a couple weeks ago that I was calling. And I mean, 20 minutes after the game, they missed a call in the last like minute. And she had her phone and she got a text that they got fined.
Oh,
And
dear.
she was so like,
Wait, they do get fined.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When they like
Did
miss a
not know
call
that.
or yeah. So I was like, don't you guys think it would be beneficial to put the current players through?
No.
No.
Because
Why?
the more that players know what referees are supposed to look, the more they can cheat and adjust. As the game has progressed, players know what referees are looking at or what
Yeah.
they're supposed to call.
But to your point
why
of
do you
how
think
players think that
grabbing
they know
the
more.
guy and pulling him towards you has gotten so prevalent? So referees and players play this cat and mouse game of like, what are you supposed to call and how can I get away with these moves? Because you have to call this.
You know, so when we first got Kyle last year, this was like early on in preseason. I think everybody knows Kyle gives the refs pretty hard time.
Yeah.
But he would tell me that I don't know if he got film, tape, a book, I don't know, a manual, but he has memorized where on the floor all the refs are supposed to be as the ball moves throughout the half court.
Yeah.
So what he does is he goes at refs if they're not in the right spots.
Stop
So
it.
if somebody makes a call, he'll be like, you can't make that call, you're not in the right spot.
Well, and let me say this. They gave me 3 books, right? They're like, here's the official rule book, here's the public book, here's the private book, right? Here's like the book
Right,
that like
right,
only referees get that's not public knowledge. Because again, you don't want like the referee's job is to keep the integrity of the game, right? And the more players like what a foul is, that, but the more you start messing with, hey, this referee's supposed to be here, you could probably block a person's vision. Because there's like the top referee, there's the middle referee, there's a bottom referee. I'm not using the right terminology just for the sake, but like if you know that this guy right here at the middle line is supposed to make the call in the paint, you could literally put a guy and just keep having him kind of stand in front of the.
That's next level strategy.
That's next level.
Like,
I got a lot of other things to worry about.
No, but I'm saying
I'm trying to guard Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, like we were just talking about. I'm certainly not.
I'm talking about if you're the offensive guy, you could stand in there to kind of block. And I only say this because think about Chris Paul is notorious for knowing all the rules and be like, this guy didn't have his jersey out. That's this. And oh no, you're supposed to take the ball out on this side. So there are so many players that memorize the rule book that if you give them too much information, that's like means millions of dollars and wins in games. Like, these motherfuckers will study.
We're talking about Kyle Lowry, who is this? Oh, fuck it.
Fuck you.
Why? You want to come in here?
You want to come in?
You want to come in?
You want to come
We
say
have a
what's up?
seat for you.
Come on.
Come on.
Jaron, don't be scared.
Come on.
Then beat it. Then beat it.
Wow.
Then beat it.
You go coach.
He's thinking. He is thinking.
First of all,
he's thinking.
I've always liked your brother better.
Come on.
I've always liked your brother better. Then go.
You're really gonna do that to us though?
Yeah,
You're really gonna do that to us?
Yes. You know that's Jaron, right? I'm just joking.
No
I'm joking.
shit.
Oh my God.
He doesn't know. He's the straight one.
Oh
He's
my.
the straight one. He's the straight one.
Oh my, is that
Shout out to Jason. We love Jason.
damn?
What? He is. He wore a shirt that said,
I thought
Jason Collins.
yes.
Yeah.
He wore a shirt that said, "No, I'm the straight one." So
They are twins.
We had one of the best podcasts with Jason.
Yeah, Jason's great.
Yeah.
So
He tried to break my arm one time, but he's cool.
He's a dirty little.
Speaking of
Dirty fucking player. Sorry.
Really?
Dude, strong. Both of them.
aren't they both though?
strong
so
as
dirty?
fuck.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, what limb am I okay getting broke or hurt if I go for this rebound? Like, they weren't the best jumpers. They weren't the best shooters. But, like, if there was an opportunity for them, for you to, like, have to double think,
Like,
do I want to go rebound?
Yeah.
It was.
You guys see Griff? You see Griff's big head ass right there. You see Griff?
Griff,
and Trey?
big.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Griff.
The worst shooter from Duke ever.
Was that Trajan?
Yeah.
Doc, listen. Yeah.
He could
shoot
shoot, bro.
that thing.
That was my generation. He was that
He's
first.
from Alaska, right?
Yeah, he's from Alaska. Yeah.
Him and Carlos
Boozer and
Mario
Mario
Chalmers.
Chalmers. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
We
I'm
know
down
our
it.
shit.
I didn't know Boozer was. I'll be honest. With you.
Yeah.
We got a
Savage.
rapid five. What
Okay.
do you want to talk about?
Shit talkers in the NBA. Who's your top five? Because Kyle likes to
Yeah.
yapping sometimes.
I mean, Kyle talks a lot, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it's like
At somebody.
directed personal. Like I always think of when I think about shit talking, I think of like the people that just cross that line of like that is just so personal,
So aggressive.
Like,
It's like
so
the amount of
it's
energy
so
it takes.
personal.
Just know I played with in
Do you have an
KG.
example?
I'm gonna say two, both of which are, I've had a front row seat of. Jimmy is one. Jimmy, like, it's interesting because you don't know what game it will be. Like, it'll just be something in his mind that will just set him off, and it just goes to a very dark place. And then the other one is probably, KG's probably up there, but I think UD is like, and granted, now he's in a situation where like
He's just
all he does is run his mouth, and that's like part of his strength.
Yeah.
But man, he just has something to say about everything all the time.
Oh.
And everybody
As
all the
vets.
time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I would say UD is.
You guys
is
still
definitely-
haven't. This is our last time. You still haven't given us anything that you guys have disagreed.
We were
on.
going to end on that.
We're just such good friends.
My fault.
We're just such good friends.
That's adorable.
Honestly, what we disagree on the most is this podcast.
What for sure.
In terms of we've kind of talked about this. Davis and I were friends before we started this, and it's just really changed the nature of our
friendship.
relationship.
Yeah.
Well, I try to call him and say like, "Hey man, how's your day going?" And he just every time he calls me, it's like, "Hey, have we scheduled a guest? Hey, what time are we recording?" Granted, he is very much responsible for like keeping everything in check,
That's
so I
Allie.
understand.
Allie.
That's Allie.
This literally just.
Hey, I see you.
I see you. I feel. Yeah.
But that's been like a wedge. In fact, we spent way too much time around each other like the last probably 10 days. and we're thinking about just clearing a hotel room and just fighting.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah, look
settle-
it out.
We've
just
talked about that
settling.
a couple
You know what I
times.
mean?
Wait,
Yeah.
guys have that? You
Yeah.
guys have that problem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because it's just after a while, it's like even your closest friend, like sometimes you're either too much alike or the shit that like it's just like too much dessert, right? It's like, it's like, I need to be around some people that I like actually don't like, and you're like, oh, I actually miss my friends, right? But if you're with your friends all the time, then it's just like, ugh.
You know what I learned about you over these last 3 days here?
Who and what?
You know that quote, not all who wander are lost?
Yeah,
I feel like that's the epitome
I'm
of Richard.
I'm a big just kind of
Ask
flow.
Richard where
I
he got
love
that
it.
shirt today.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's end on this.
So this is
okay?
what happens, right? So I have 2 hotel rooms. I have one for ESPN that's at just stay
Look
with
at
me
you,
here.
man.
Big
Unbelievable.
time.
I stay one at the Virgin because I'm doing stuff with ESPN. But then for Blue Wire, they got us a room here. So I was
Yeah.
like, hey guys, I'm gonna come stay over here just so it's closer and easy. So I brought a backpack and I had a collared shirt in my room. I threw it in there, whatever. So this morning, right, wake up a little late, time for breakfast. I put on this collared shirt. Now it was folded. This shit was a crop top. Whoever washed this shit, it was like a crop top. Now it's about 45. I was like, damn, and I'm pissed off now because I got to sprint down to go find a shirt because I only had one other shirt.
Because you're running to ref school.
Because I'm running to ref school and all my shit's at the other hotel. I brought a shirt to stay here to go. Put it on. Walk out there and I'm like, fuck. Where's my phone? Get outside the room. My phone's gone. My phone's in the room. I don't have the key because I'm like all over the place right now. Frantic. I come down here and I remember seeing there's a little convenience store right here. I remember seeing they had collar shirts. So I rent down here,
way.
sprint down here, no phone, no nothing. Literally see it cost $98 for this fucking shirt. Just no lie. Fortunately I had cash, $120, throw it. I take it, throw the tag, say, I gotta go. Sprint. Jason Kidd sees me. Haley O'Shaughnessy sees me. They're like, oh, Richard, you must be late. And I'm like, now's not the time, J Kidd. Now's not the time. Literally sprint. This shirt still has the creases on it. I make it inside a referee class about 90 seconds before they start. It was one of the most stressful, like you're about to give a presentation type shit. But yeah, that's how my morning went. And that's why
Will
I'm
you
wearing
ever
it.
wear that shirt again?
I'm going to keep this shirt as a...
For $100.
Yeah, you saw I'm wearing it right
It's
now.
a memory. It's a memory, too.
right?
Yeah, it's a memory.
But I'm wearing it right now. I'm wearing this shit all day. I paid $100 for it, and I can't take it back.
Tell you, 2 hotel rooms, man. More money, more problems.
It's- I didn't pay for either of them,
Sheesh.
man. It's just I have too many jobs. That's it. You got multiple
Unbelievable.
jobs.
Doesn't know where his phone is.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just
Did
one
we?
of those
Oh, we
mornings.
tracked down the phone though.
We
it
tracked down the
seems.
phone.
All right, that's good.
I had to do referee class without it.
Not all who wander are
Sometimes I was lost this morning. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was lost this morning. I had a bad moment.
Shout out to Duncan Robinson, Davis Reed, Long Shot Podcast. Thanks for joining Road Trippin.
Davis, great stuff out of you today. Way to
Hey,
really
Hey,
bring it.
I thought I brought it.
I
thought I brought
You
it.
were here.
You were
here.
You were outstanding.
Sometimes we're
I
not.
see you.
Front row seats,
Sometimes
baby.
less is more.
I see.
I know my role. Hey, I know my role.
KYP, thank you. Me as well. Yeah, we know our role.
Yeah, let us not shut up.
We do all the work, and you guys get all the.
All the love.
Congrats, guys.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. I
congratulations.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
You know, that's what we do it for.
That'll do it. This edition of Road
My
Trippin'.
God.